That's crazy.
That goofy mother. Hey, all, this is Cats, the Cougar Afterthought Show from GoCoogs.com. Kind of a goofy setup here for me tonight, so bear with me. Don't like where the camera is, where the chairs are. But, you know, maybe I won't get kicked out of this one.
Well, you probably will. Look at all that popcorn. Like you're attracting roaches.
Cougar tail.
Oh, nice.
Cougar tail.
How many of them do you get? Jesus.
Cougar tail.
I would be freaking out there. I'd be the happiest fat ass you'd ever seen.
So I'm in the U of H AD suite.
Oh.
And they gave them to everybody that was here, and none of them apparently ate them.
Oh, well, most of them are respectable people. I would not be one of them.
Adults is what they call that, Brad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm allegedly that. I'm just a giant child, though.
Yeah, accurate. Martin, what'd you think about tonight? First off, welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about the absence.
Whatever.
I mean, fitting game for describing the season, I think. A lot of what the hell, and that was cool. And just when you thought there was hope, it was ripped away. And then it wasn't just ripped away, but then you were stomped on. So, yeah, on to next year.
Yeah.
Brad?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. I think you nailed it. It was a perfect microcosm of. I mean, came out on a made a good defensive play, and we all knew that when we didn't score on defense, we were not going to score on offense. Mm-hmm. But to just coug it the way we do, we go ahead and turn it over directly to them, and then somehow we come out of nowhere and pull out a masterful 80-yard drive and didn't do anything else on offense until the last 9 minutes. Got it close enough to give us a shot, and then just remembered who we were. I guess I don't know. It's just I'm really happy to see this season end.
That's the spirit. You had 11 real drives. You had 3 scoring drives that went 10, 9, and 12 plays. Beautiful. And then you had 5 turnovers. Okay. And 11 drives. 3 scores, 5 turnovers. I mean, that's the season. 18 points was your 4th highest of the year.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Yeah.
But, whatever. And the basketball wasn't any better.
I'd say the basketball is decidedly worse. Dramatically worse.
Accurate.
Because at least those guys have shown themselves to be competent. Except tonight they looked like they played just like U of H football, which was pathetic. I'm really glad that we didn't do our show in between the games like we had discussed, because my reaction then compared to now are two different different levels of volume.
So you're saying this volume better?
Well, I mean, it's if people like to
For the
maintain their
people.
hearing.
Yeah, for the people.
Yes, for the people. And the man for the people.
I did not get to see a lot of the basketball. What I did see was not great. It just shoddy. You didn't play the defense you expect. You didn't turn them over. You turned them over 4 times in regulation. Emmanuel Sharp shot the ball well, but then everybody faded late, and you fall again in overtime. Just very disappointing. You know, I think
you won. You won, Ryan. You came out the big winner today.
Thank you, John B. I only had to drag 6 pieces of equipment across the country through 3 time zones and 3 airports. But,
do you have someone singing to you?
That's outside. So I'm inside. That's outside. They're filming content for BYU TV. It looks like.
Are they singing? Do they have like a singer?
There's a girl. It was during the game too. It's a weird young girl singing. It doesn't really make sense.
She sounds nice. Connor said, "Why are they playing the Dead Paul Walker song?"
So, I mean, they've got all these guys. I don't even know what that means.
Oh God! Well, most everybody does.
Well, that's fine. I mean, that's expected, I believe.
So, what are they doing on the field?
I have no idea.
This is infinitely more entertaining than our games today.
Not really. It could be a religious thing or family thing.
Sean Bledsoe said he thought church had already started. You know, I really thought part of our strategy was to get them to pass midnight so their God would smite them, and then we could come out with the victory.
Their God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to take much from the football game just because there were some encouraging things on offense, but is it going to matter?
Let's talk about those.
Like, is Sean Bell going to be the guy? Likely not, but it seemed like there were concerted efforts to get Boogie Johnson the ball in space. He looked good when he had it, and it looked like there was a progression of play calling where we're going to run the motion with Boogie, and we're going to do the jet sweep motion and give it to him this time. And next time, on a 3rd and 1, Theon's going to keep it. Maybe they try some passes off of it. Like, it looked like the plays were building to work off of each other, as opposed to, hey, we haven't called the Malik Card motion out into the flat play yet. Let's do that one again this quarter, which is what it felt like was happening all season. Sean Bell, in his 1 week of preparation, looked like he was trying to call an actual game plan that built on itself, as opposed to just running plays that he was comfortable calling. And so that looked good. Unfortunately, the 2025 Cougs do not have a competent quarterback.
No.
Based on what's going to be going into next season. Zion Chris is an incredible athlete, but he's just never looked comfortable throwing the ball, even with time, which hasn't happened often, in fairness to him. But it just looks foreign to him. And I get that after getting, no time and the awful play calling all year, like that you have to take that into account. You can't ignore that, but he just doesn't look comfortable when he's asked to just drop back and pass. And they were trying. They were actually calling plays where he dropped back to pass the ball. And I mean, there was a couple throws where, he was trying to put touch on him and it was just a little long. And again, could be comfort, could be not doing it all season. He's doing a game 12 for the first time. But I'll take the paycheck, Connor. But it sucked. Honestly, when he was asked to just be a drop back passer. But I did think it was encouraging to see utilizing the skill players that I've been saying exist all year. I do think these are Big 12 players, and the caliber of players at the skill positions that most teams around the country would be happy to have. But it's just the play calling was better today. I think massively better. Unfortunately the quarterback is I just don't think he's the guy.
Yeah, and you could take the best offensive coordinator of the last 30 years, whoever that was, and they still could not get anything out of this group because you just don't have players. You just don't have the players. I thought the offensive line a few times.
Yeah, qualify that.
Do what?
Qualify that because
a few times they played really, really well. I mean, that's the crazy thing is that on that long 10-yard or 10-play, 80-yard touchdown drive, they look great, and then they look horrible for I guess next 7 or 8 series, and then they put together one series where they look really good, and then they look terrible. And you would think that maybe it was because of the different plays that the other defense was dialing up. No, they were coming with the exact same stuff that they were. Just sometimes they make the plays, and then sometimes it's like they're all just out there spinning in circles. Just, hey, look at us, let's spin circles.
It's a good advice. Good advice.
I mean,
we'd sit on this show trashing you for 11 games till you get fired. And
it'd be really awkward because I would still come on the show after games.
Yeah.
Just be
I would rub that cash all over my body on camera. $90,000 a month that's pretty good, or 80,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jack Martin for his onside kick.
That was awesome.
Not
Speaking
the way you want to
Olay,
go out. Oof.
I cannot wait till he comes back here. Hopefully he'll join us at sometime next year.
Yeah, we will have him on intentionally to discuss that.
Yes.
He looked rushed when he did it, and then dude just ran right by him. Not that y'all got to see that on TV, because they weren't very interested in showing that. They were showing, I think, Notre Dame highlights.
Yeah.
So, poor Jack. He's done. His career's over. I believe he's got a job lined up, and so good for him.
Very nice.
That was an absolute piss missile, as he would say on that kick. His first.
The field goal?
Yeah. I mean,
only
he
field goal.
It. Yeah, only one. Dude, he booted it.
Okay. Manjack probably don't want to run that play again. I mean, there's not supposed to be a guy 15 yards in the backfield when you throw that ball. He was under a lot of duress throwing against his body. It's very possible that 2025 looks just as bad as this year. I don't know how to say that, and because you're going to turn over a lot of this roster, and you have a good recruiting class coming in. You're obviously going to go to the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you can get. I don't know where the NIL is for this upcoming season. There's a lot of variables, and it could be bad. I think if you can get one guy, maybe two guys on the offensive line, and a quarterback that can bridge the gap between your younger guys and today, maybe it can look a little better. I think the schedule is manageable next year. Mm-hmm. You get an FCS school, which you haven't been getting. You get Rice, who's rebuilding, and you go to Oregon State. You go to Arizona State. Baylor comes to Houston. Oklahoma State comes to Houston, I think. And you play Colorado at home. So you are getting those two of the top teams there. I don't think you play Iowa State.
And Colorado's going to look a lot different.
They're going to look a lot different.
Yeah.
So I just don't know what next year looks like. There's going to be so many changes in the next 10 days that's going to alter what you do going forward. There's going to be staff changes. There's going to be players leaving. There's going to be players committing out of the transfer portal. And you'll have signing day on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Is it already that close?
Yeah.
Well,
it changed.
It's December 1st.
Yeah, it used to be.
They moved it up in December because of bowl games happening, and guys or teams having to recruit from a bowl location.
Right.
There's no real good time to do it unless you do it in July or in early August, but then you don't get that one more year of scouting.
Yeah.
Connor Diaz says, I'm not sure you can evaluate Bell off this one game. I'd run a full search, which it sounds like Willie will do. He will absolutely run a full search. He may have a guy in mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Bell was the answer, then this change would have been made at the second off week.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I think Willie was giving him a chance as long as they were bowl eligible.
Yeah, based on the timing,
he may have been contemplating it since then, but you also you can't just fire someone.
No, but what I'm saying is
with that kind of money, that had to go through levels.
Oh yeah, well I mean that there's part of your NIL budget right there.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with NIL.
What I'm saying is that came from outside money, just like where your NIL is going to come from. That's just one less. That's just $750,000. That's not going to go to NIL.
Maybe, or somebody's just pissed off and paid it.
Yeah.
For the love of God, can this team prioritize strengthening the line of scrimmage, please?
I'm sure they're going to try, man. It's not going to be that simple. It's the hardest position to buy. I mean,
it's so difficult. I mean, everybody wants those guys. And once a guy in this era, once a guy has a breakout season, somebody from a pecking order ahead of you is going to dip down and try to recruit him. And they're going to do it illegally. They're going to talk to friends and agents and family members and high school coaches.
The guys, the offensive linemen have been recruited. Schools have been trying to poach offensive linemen for a month and a half already. That's
Longer,
been as soon as their film hit, as soon as their evaluations came through, those kids are getting hammered.
Somebody like me, since October, November, has already been compiling a list of guys at the FCS levels, whatever level they consider beneath them, and saying, hey, these are the guys we need to be targeting come portal time. It's already been happening. They've probably already discussed money with a handler. And they're just going to finalize them once it comes time to actually do that. So, and like if we had a guy that was worth anything, a school in the playoff is looking at him. And I mean, if you can walk and chew gum and you're 6'5", 300 pounds, you're an asset to teams. So if you're any good at football, you're even more valuable. It's offensive line, even more so than defensive line, is the hardest position to build in this era, in any era, really. But, because you guys are expecting this to be a microwave thing, and that's the hardest position to do it with. It's just not going to happen. You can get the five best offensive linemen, and it's still going to be a struggle because they have to be comfortable playing in unison.
The good news, Cougar fans, is you don't have to worry about anybody poaching your offensive linemen. You can rest comfortable.
Yeah.
That fourth down was a microcosm of our season. We didn't just fail to convert, but we fumbled, and we didn't just fumbled. We fumbled it backward 20 yards. I disagree, Dave. That was more like 35 yards. That was I thought that was the worst ball security I had seen all year from anybody on this team. Zion just had that ball down at his waist, holding it with one hand. When you have people come at you, you have to have that with two hands. You just can't hold it down there. The one place you cannot secure it is down to your side at your waist. And he failed to do that. And I thought that was pitiful. And the effort should have been much better than that. If you have any desire to be the starting quarterback here next year, you've just got to be better than that. You can't have an entire fan base see that as really your last play. And I just was not a fan of that.
Next year, being the starting quarterback here next year is probably the easiest it will ever be, because all you have to do to win the starting job here, because there's no competition right now. There's just nothing there. But all you have to do is, one, don't turn it over. Two, make very basic plays. Like, can you complete a swing pass on target? Okay, well, you got a chance. Can you
for
throw
a touchdown? The touchdown was there.
Can you throw a 6-yard slant in the seam on target? Can you throw a crossing pass 8 yards down the field on target? The guy doesn't even have to be moving. He just needs to be still. And can you hit him from shoulders to waist, right? Anywhere. You've got 2 or 2.5 feet up and down. Can you get it within that circle? If the answer is yes, then you know what? You might have a chance to start here. You don't have to do anything spectacular.
I think it's even less than that. Can you snap the ball and turn the correct way?
That helps.
Not doing the circle. You saw it a lot the last couple weeks. You saw it once tonight. And it blows my mind that happens. That throws timing of the entire playoff. It's like a bad snap.
Yeah.
And that was massively frustrating. Stay tuned. We will have a very special correspondent doing a Cougar Tail taste test for us in just a bit. But first, let's jump back to basketball. Brad, was there anything positive you have to say about this game, this tournament, these performances?
Well, before we do that, let's talk about Star Pizza.
You know what? What we haven't done is talk about Star Pizza.
Yeah,
wild.
I was just thinking about that. What would make me feel much better? And that would be a Star Pizza. But it's 1 a.m. They don't like to do the late night thing for me, which is probably healthy for me.
They don't like to do it for you?
Well, no, they don't like to do it, and it's probably the healthiest thing for me.
Yeah, well, they're close.
I know. That's why.
Okay.
It's healthy. Right. It's a good thing, because I was sitting there thinking about it. It's like, what would make me feel so much better? And Star Pizza would make me feel so much better. So go check those guys out. It's tomorrow. Is it open tomorrow? Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be?
I usually get on Sunday.
What day would it? You kids.
Now back to basketball. Was there anything good? There wasn't. I didn't see much today. Today was such a disappointing day because it was so out of character. It looked like the guys were going through the motions.
Yeah.
It's disheartening to know that Alabama and San Diego State, I can live with losing with those. I can't live with losing the way we did. It's those guys out-toughed us. They were stronger. They were more physical, and they didn't back down. They were the aggressors. And, I know that we pride ourselves on being, the toughest around. You know what? Tough is not defined by the fact that you can run into people and foul them 50 times in a game. And then you could do that all weekend. And, you've got hands like flippers can't hold on to the ball. We didn't show any real toughness. We showed that we are willing to try to play out of control and be a wrecking ball out there. But, toughness comes with discipline. Toughness isn't just being physical with other teams. It is being mentally tough. And this team looked soft, fragile mentally. They had it again. They had a shot to put this game away today. And this is a problem that has gone back, a few years, is that we get leads and then we just coast and then have to try to play catch up again and hope we can get another knockout run. And this team's doing it, but the thing is that this team can't survive that because there is no alpha dog stepping up right now. If anybody on this team had in their mind that, one day I want to grow up and be a U of H player and I want to be the leader, you know what? The job is wide open because there are no leaders on that floor right now. There are guys who maybe say, hey, here it's practice time. Everybody line up and let's do some sprints or things like that. But there's nobody that's putting everybody in the backpack and saying, let's go. It's enough of this bullshit. Let's turn this thing around. You got a bunch of guys just kind of waiting for something to happen, and it ain't happening. So,
is there a guy that can do it? Do you think there is a guy on the roster to do it?
Every one of them have the ability to. It's whether somebody's willing to step up and or maybe their balls drop and they decide that they're going to be grown ass men and go out and take the bull by the horns. I mean,
I think guys do it every once in a while, but there's no one that can consistently do it, is what you're saying.
There's nobody who's done it.
I think LJ did it in the Alabama game. I'm
not talking about because you go out and you scored and you do.
It's not even that. I think he played pretty good defense in that game.
I'm just talking about
he was not good.
Pull everybody together and get the most out of everybody. I mean, I would think that would be the perfect type of role for somebody like J1, but I think he's more of you got a lot of guys who are really good followers, but you don't have that one alpha dog who's going to say, let's fucking go. Pull everybody together. Hey, pull your heads out of your ass. Let's get it going. You probably sit there and you think that, Milos, does he have it in him to do it? Well, he's just a new guy. Guess what, new guy? If you got it, bring it.
Yeah, it's time.
If any of the freshmen ever get a chance to play again, then maybe they step up and do that.
The most surprising stat that I have seen from this team in probably 3 years happened today. U of H had one steal in this game. San Diego State turned it over 4 times in regulation. That is not what this team is. And I think the steal from Emmanuel was in the first 3 minutes. He just stepped into a passing lane. And I don't think they had one the entire rest of the game. And that's bizarre. Juwan played 41 minutes tonight. That's bizarre.
How bizarre. I assume that JVA got a little tweak in the groin again.
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't see a lot of this game. I'm going to watch it tomorrow on the plane.
But tonight's the basketball, the defense was opposite of the U of H football game. But in basketball, it was just a bunch of Olay bullshit. Guys just letting people just go right by them. And then help side defense being late. Guys late on the pick and roll defense. I mean, that's turning into an all too common thing that our trap at the top, or I guess we don't like to call it a trap. whatever you want to call it, doubling the pick and roll.
Monster.
It's slow to get there. Doubling the post has been slow to get there. It's slow for most teams. It's not slow for most teams. It's slow for what we do, and we suffocate people, and it's not happening. And that's when it tells me that they're missing somebody who will literally slap them in the face. Their teammates, code red. In the past, that we had players that would pull somebody by the shirt, get them straightened out, and get their shit together. We're lacking that.
Brad, you want to read this comment?
Great point, Towns.
Yeah. It just wouldn't sound right coming from me.
True. But it was all around bad, man. I mean, there was a lot of, it's worrying. It's still really, really, really early. But it's worrying because we have we got guys with so much experience. It's like, hey, run it back, guys. Hey, all you hashtag run it back. How about hashtag pull your fucking head out of your ass and get your balls back? Let's fucking go.
Okay, there you go, Brad Towns. Robert's lack of rebounds is a huge concern. He had 12 tonight. I don't think that's the issue today.
But you're right. It was a lack it was a concern last night or last game.
I sat down with him last Sunday, and he admitted that the issue with his game so far has been motor. And rebounds that's just a direct correlation. The BYU radio is going above me, and I keep hearing it, thinking that somebody's talking to me, like, get the hell out of our press box, which we've heard before. Please watch this video.
All right, I'm JD. We're at LaBelle Edwards Stadium, Provo, Utah. It's about 35 degrees, but we're out on the field. We're going to do a little taste test here of the famous Cougar tail, and this is specifically for Galen Robinson. Apparently there's nothing in the middle, it's just maple type of cream or something on top, so we're just gonna go for it here. So basically, nothing in the middle. Got a real maple syrupy kind of feel, taste. I'd give it like a 7. Kind of sweet. Little Joey. But it's really good.
That's our new intern, JD. Yeah.
Nice job, JD. I love it.
We took that onto the field, and as we walked out there, Eddie had just walked out, and he looked over. He's like, what the hell is that? I'm like, well, let me tell you about the Cougar tail, Eddie. And then within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, Willie Fritz walks out and looks at it, and I was like, what the hell is that? And so I thought it was just kind of common knowledge. Maybe it's just because we talk about it so much. But the Cougar tail got JD. So the point was to do that with Galen here, but Galen tapped out, saying, oh, I got up at 5:30 this morning. Oh, I played a game. Oh, yeah, we get it.
Oh, I've got all this family stuff I got to do, and I've got to be on the road. I've got to be responsible.
Yeah.
We love you, Galen. Can't wait to have you back.
Yeah. 7 assists today, 7 points. I think 4 turnovers, though. Got to work on that.
I bet he had more than one steal.
He might have. I did not check the steals. Wasn't
not enjoyer Cougar tail.
Not a fan of the Cougar tail.
Here we go. I like this one from FH. I hate when people say we look bad because we don't have Shed. Yeah, he was great, but this team has so many other issues than Shed not being there. And you were 1,000% correct.
Yes. But Jamal Shed hid so many of those issues.
Well, he overcame. He was able to, like I said, go back to Shed pulling out the backpack and throwing all the kids back there and Daddy driving it home. He carried, him by himself won at least 6 games last year by himself.
And most of those road games in the conference.
Yeah. But it's unfortunately it's going to come down to unfortunate that it's going to come down to Milos, I believe. I think he's going to have to be the one to pull it together, and he's going to have to go through that similar transformation that Jamal did at the beginning of last year, where he had to transition from being a support role to playing the lead role, and he's going to have to go and get his shot. Because if he just waits and tries to facilitate, then you're going to have 3 dudes jerking around at the arc, passing the ball to the last second of the shot clock, and then hucking up a prayer, hoping something goes in.
That's hard to follow, Brad. I thought the last 4 possessions in regulation were complete trash. I don't think they had a semblance of a plan. It was mind-blowing that it looked that bad. Jamal covered a lot of stuff up. I told somebody today that the offense and really the whole game looked so much like Duke in the Sweet 16 after Jamal went down. Mm-hmm. Everybody kind of standing around like, is he coming back? Well, who's going to do this? And that's what it was today. Well, who's going to do this?
If you remember, that's exactly what the team looked like most of the season the year before last. In Sasser's last year. But they were all standing around waiting for Sasser to do
Sasser to do it, right. And it just can't be that.
No.
I know that there's a lot of NBA influence in their strategy, but at some point you just got to have guys that can go create a shot, go make a shot, go make a play. It can't just be standing around, and it has been a lot of that this year. I was watching the Notre Dame second half from the sideline, and that was the one thing I kept focusing on is they're just standing around. There's nobody being aggressive, nobody looking to create something. And, they were fortunate. I mean, Notre Dame made a lot of shots and could have won that game. And they were fortunate to put it away there in the last 80 or 90 seconds. But there are some real flaws with this team. And over the next month, they're going to get a lot of practice time, not a lot of games. But, technically, for me, it's still the 30th. Is it after midnight here? Yeah, it is. It's 12:30. They played their first conference game December 30th. You've got to go. This team has to improve a great bit before you go to Stillwater on the 30th. And then you get some home games, and then you go to Kansas State, Kansas, Lubbock. And, it's no joke. With 20 conference games, it's going to be a struggle all year. I had so much expectation of tonight being kind of fun and enjoyable and light. And had you just lost a football game and won a basketball game, it'd have probably been that.
It would have. Before the season started, Kelvin says, we're going to be good. We're going to be really good. I can only imagine what he thinks now. What he thinks is still true. It's just he has a much more – he's less reactionary than we are. But he still thinks the same thing. It's December, and we are a long way from where we need to be. Right now, we're only barely good. But it will improve.
It has not ever not improved, right?
Right.
It's always gotten better, but you're certainly not there right now, and it feels like you're a long, long way off.
Well, It feels scary right now because we don't remember what it felt like in 2022.
Okay.
We only remember that we had Jamal last year, and he came in and saved the day on everything. Now, having experienced Jamal as being one of the Mount Rushmore players in U of H history, we get freaked out if we don't have somebody that is Jamal. Well, we don't need Jamal. We need somebody. I mean,
You're not getting Jamal. He's not walking through the door.
well, you can live with Jamal as a sophomore, Jamal as a junior. You can live with that role player. You can live with Dejan Giroux from a on court skill wise. But what you need, it's the skill is not what's lacking. You need somebody that is going to be kind of the executioner on the team. And that can come from anybody. It can come at any moment. Somebody can assert themselves. It's just going to take people getting fed up enough, to stop the BS. So.
Okay.
Might just take more from Kelvin this year. I mean, he mentioned that they don't have a Jamal, whether that meant specifically basketball or leadership wise. I don't 100% know, but
Both.
It might just require more of him being the adult in the room more than normal if they just don't have that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to figure he thinks they're behind schedule. He has it mapped out where they need to be at certain dates, and they're not where they're supposed to be on December 1st. I think there will probably be some elevated voices in practice this week. Just guessing. You have Butler a week from the 7th, so Saturday at 4:30. I don't know. He, meaning Kelvin, kind of made it seem we were going to be really good in the sense of real shot at title game. He said that to me a year ago, the day after the Kansas State football game. I was in his office for about 80 minutes, and he told me, the one thing I really want to do is get them Monday night. And I had never, ever heard him talk like that. It just surprised me so much. But he did say things like that before this season, too. And, I mean, you get in the tournament, and you just have no clue how it's going to match up. And if everybody just thinks that success looks like title game, then 335 teams are disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think success means so many different... I mean, winning the Big 12 last year was success. And it's hard for me to convince fans of that because they just expected to go in and dominate? I don't know. But people seem to put less into that than they should. That was a really big damn deal.
I mean, the NCAA tournament is, you've got to be, it's a lot of NCAA tournaments luck. I mean, let's be realistic.
100%.
It seems like every champion has at least one game where they struggle early. You don't see too many teams. I think maybe UConn 2 years ago where they just kind of steamrolled the whole thing.
Right.
But that's extremely rare. Everybody's going to have one that comes down to, a possession or two that can knock you out early. Then you've got the injury scenario. I have no doubt this is a team that makes the title game, but for Jamal's injury.
Maybe. I don't know about that, but maybe.
But
you also have, how is a game refereed?
Right.
Does your star get 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes?
And then you look back, even Kelvin said, of all the teams he's had at U of H, the team that he thought that really could win the national title is one that we lost to Villanova.
Yeah, well.
In the most horrific scoring drought.
shooting night ever in the history of the world.
But I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, you've got to play near perfect, and you have to get lucky. You have to stay completely healthy as much as possible, and then you've got to get the bounces and you got to get the calls. But winning the Big 12 is you've got to grind your ass off for an entire 2.5 months.
Yeah. About 71 days, I think.
And that's the true test of that takes everything, because that takes the entire roster, and that takes every coach on that roster. So that really defines, you win that. That's a program defining moment, as opposed to just winning the tournament.
And I think that how it played out last year, where the champion had 3 losses, that's not going to happen this year. I think it's going to be 5.
Would not surprise me.
Yeah, you have to go to these places like Arizona State, who looks pretty damn good right now.
Do what?
You didn't think Arizona State was going to look this good. You didn't think Colorado was going to have the wins they have, but you didn't think Arizona was going to look this pedestrian.
Well, you didn't think Arizona and us were going to. Let's throw us. Let's call it what it is.
You don't get to play us
because you ain't beat nobody.
Accurate.
We haven't.
Yes, I haven't.
The only good teams we've played, we've lost.
Yeah.
So,
but I think Auburn's going to be number 1 in the country Monday.
Auburn's absolutely the best team in the country right now.
I just don't see anybody, and Alabama could have been 2 had they pulled it off today. They lost to Oregon, kind of on a buzzer beater, 5 seconds left. Making Martin talk hoops may qualify as cruel and unusual punishment. Martin knows hoops. He doesn't keep up with it like he does with football.
One that I had.
No, basketball was my first love. I just don't want to talk out of turn. I didn't.
There you go.
Race, so I don't want to make stuff
Be
up.
a good boy. Yeah. Brad, you have to read the comments, remember?
Well, that's why I said I had to. That's why I was basically telling you kindly to shut the
Martin,
up.
Any chance Austin Carlisle could step in as a true freshman?
I mean, anything's possible, but I don't
Accurate.
think we want that.
Accurate.
I would say it's a less than 1% chance. Think they would rather do it with Zion Christigan or give somebody like Caleb McMichael a shot, assuming we went into next year with the roster with just the players that currently existed in the program. Yeah, I mean, Caleb McMichael, I was actually really excited about it. It's too bad he got hurt because he might have gotten an opportunity to play this year with how things are going.
Yeah.
Austin Carlisle's got a chance to be a good college football player, but it's not going to be day one, I don't think. I'd rather be wrong about that,
right.
But I don't think I am.
I think the possibility is game 4, game 5, or even, you start getting playing time in that FCS game to start, Stephen F. Austin. And
sure.
Then you build it Rice, and then the problem with what it looks like now is you're going to have starters in till late in the fourth quarter because it just hasn't been great.
I would predict more so Keyshawn Henderson would have a chance to start right away before Austin Carlisle. But obviously that's another season out. But
the both of you, how would you grade Sean Bell stepping in as OC with just a couple of practices? How would you grade him, Brad?
Incomplete.
Well, okay, I thought you don't have any. This is complete. There's no other.
Well, I mean, B.
Okay. Well, and I mean, it doesn't even have to be a letter grade. It's just what do you think he did, and I don't even know if you can compare it to what you saw a week ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
I mean, I know what he's got. I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge him. I think he's got a good future in the game. just
For
from
sure.
people I've talked to and understanding his background. I think he's got a lot of really good things coming for him. I didn't see anything that blew my socks off that said, "Oh my God, this is phenomenal." I mean, he called a competent game in, like what Martin said earlier. The plays playing off each other made sense. There was a logical progression with what we were trying to do. One play sets up another play. One play is going to come back. That look is going to come back and look and execute different than what you showed. But I mean, let's be real, man. He's playing with a bunch of freaking traffic cones.
Okay. Martin, how would you grade it?
Yeah, I mean, I was excited about it. I thought he was giving his players a chance to make plays, which is all you can really ask for them to do. It's not the first time they called the reverse pass from Manjack, but they tried it. But I was just really encouraged at how Boogie Johnson seemed to be like a focal point for this is how we're going to move the ball when we need a play. It was like, all right, well, let's run something for Boogie, and it wasn't just screen on the outside or something. It was multiple different ways in getting it, utilizing him. I mean, I think they got him at least ran him deep. I think Zion overthrew him. I might be thinking of the wrong guy, but on the 3rd and 7, they were in a jet sweep and he got a first down. They threw it to him short, and he made a big play. And then when he stepped outside, that could have even been a bigger play on the right side on the sideline. So I'm encouraged. I don't know how he would do over 12 games, but I would have rather seen what he did today over the entire season as opposed to what we saw for 11 games. It didn't feel like he was just running, beating his head against the wall. It felt like things made sense and he was getting guys opportunities to make plays. And it was based on what he had seen from the defense and what they were successful doing as opposed to, well, we're just going to run this because it's 3rd down, which is how it felt with Varbe. Obviously, that's not what he's doing, but it's how it felt watching the game, 11 versions of it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm very encouraged. It's tough to say off of one game if you want him to be the guy next year, but if he was, you could at least go into next season thinking, okay, well, we got a taste of it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
The big
it
thing
really
is
seemed like he went to Zion, or he knew, like, Zion, you're comfortable with Stephon Johnson, right? Y'all have chemistry, right? Okay.
Bad, right?
Let's figure out what we can do here. And Zion, I don't know if you knew this, Martin, had 24 catches tonight. Just kidding. It felt like that because nobody catches the ball in his offense. He had 5, but it felt like he was everywhere.
It did.
And I like to grade coaches kind of in a very direct way. Did you score touchdowns? And for the first time in about 3 weeks, you did. Now, it didn't sustain itself through the game, but there were 2, and they were good drives. It wasn't fluke stuff. I mean, they went and earned the points they scored.
Mm-hmm.
When they did get short fields, they made a mess of that.
Yeah.
But they did run some drives. Martin, how big of a deal is the new football ops building from a staff standpoint? You could go a lot of ways with this question.
Yeah, it's huge for recruiting. I forget who I was talking to when I actually went to the game the other day. It might have been you, Ryan, but I would have just been talking to somebody who knew what I was talking about, so I'm sure it was somebody else. But, when we were bringing kids in for visits when I was there in the past, back in my day, you're bringing them to the Carl Lewis, and then you're having to navigate an event that they're having in front of the Carl Lewis for game day. And you're having to navigate around track, having a meet there. And you're bringing these kids in, squeezing them through to try to just show them the facility. Now they're going to take them to the football facility, and there's everybody that's there is going to be somebody that's going to be working with or for them, and somebody that they can get familiar with. And then they have a building like this is where you're going to be every day. You're not going to have to be working around track or whatever other Olympic sport is there, soccer. This is ours. So, they're gonna pull kids up to this facility and be like, this is your new home. This is where you're gonna work every day. Oh, it's connected to the stadium you're gonna play in. Oh, here's this sweet ass brand new locker room we just built for you. Oh, look, there's the indoor connected to, our building.
Weight room.
The weight room is going to be state of the art that can compete with any SEC program or big program across the country.
Training table.
They're going to have their own training.
That's all I would care about.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have their own tutoring area there. Like it's all going to be just for football.
And I would even go further. It steps away from Frenchie's. So if you don't like what we're serving, Frenchie's is right there.
I was going to get to that. There's Shipley's over there too.
There is.
But it's a big deal. It's also, I think it is a big deal for the staff working because it's another thing. It's not a nuisance of having to consider, the other sports. They can be selfish and figure things out for themselves. And it really is a big deal. Kids care about this stuff. I mean, I worked with coaches in the past there. And they were like, hey, can we avoid this specific thing with this kid? Because he's going to go to A&M and what we're offering can't compete with what he's going to see there. So like coaches were trying to avoid areas of what the program was going to offer a player in the past, versus now they're going to be excited to show them everything that they're going to have available to them. Because really nobody across the country is going to offer anything better. The only negative, I guess, is that it's in Third Ward, but whatever.
I think that's a positive.
Yeah, I do too. Just they would try to not take kids down Scott Street in the past as if that mattered.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big deal. It really is.
It's 25 degrees in Provo right now. Feels like 22. I'm excited to get to go out there.
53 here.
Well, that's better.
It's still cold though, man. Remember, we got the wet cold.
Duarte has this from Willie Fritz. I'm really proud of the guys and the effort they put forth. I thought they played extremely hard. When you have the type of season we had, sometimes that's not what happens. That's from GoCoogs intern Joseph Duarte.
LJD.
Yeah. This is the back of the box that
What
the
the
Cougar
hell?
tail was in. Yeah, that's what I said.
Goodness
I was like, what is that
gracious.
young man doing?
Wow,
got-
BYU. What are y'all?
They got a Cougar tail like a baseball bat, and I don't know if that's a flute or what.
They got a flautist in a tank top.
Okay, I can't do this.
Okay, BYU folks. That's
Turn down for
interesting
what?
Yeah.
I did not see this when I was here in January, and I don't remember it from 10 years ago when we were here. Yeah.
That's definitely interesting.
We found a cool pizza place, not Star Pizza, of course. Star Pizza, 3 locations in the
that?
Houston area. This is called, it was either Magnificent Mike or Mighty Mike or some Mattress Mike. I'm not sure. A pizza place here. Duarte and I went before the game.
It went full Edward Scissorhands. Why don't they cut that pizza a little bit more?
Yeah. Well, they promised you this many mountain mics. They promised you X number of pieces, and they made sure that I got it.
70?
I think that's what it said, yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
And if you could tell, Duarte's is not even cut. He just ate it like that.
It looks like a freaking salad on a...
On a pizza. He called it a Supreme, but that
like
looked a little more
salad on a
Supreme than me.
pizza dough.
I wonder what this guy could have done with that pizza.
I can only imagine.
Since we teased it a little bit, I went to the finest steakhouse in the Salt Lake City area, the Sizzler. So I last went to Sizzler, I believe, was in the 5th grade. It was 1990. I won some sort of thing, and that was the reward. You got to go to Sizzler.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I am picturing Sizzler as what it looked like in the 5th grade when I walk into this place. Nothing had changed. It was the exact same thing.
Really?
The salad bar was the same, except they had a taco thing on the salad bar.
Is that like a taco shell, like a puff?
Yeah,
taco
like
shell?
a puff. Yeah, they had a regular shell, and then they had that. I'm going to tell you, those ham cubes, fantastic. The steak baked potato looked exactly like it did when I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
It's medium rare now, not whatever the hell I had. And then the desserts, I had 2 brownies and some ice cream and Oreos and M&Ms and peanuts and chocolate sauce. It was, and last night was
the breakfast bar huge?
Dessert bar.
Yeah,
they had a lot of stuff on it. They had a lot of stuff on it.
Yeah, different.
No, they did not have chocolate pudding. And you know what else they didn't have on the salad? They didn't have pickles. I was so weirded out that they didn't have pickles on a salad bar, but
Pickles?
they didn't. You don't. When I was a kid,
I ain't seen pickles on a salad bar since Super Salad.
when I was a kid, I would get ham cubes on a little pile.
Yeah.
I would get pickles on a little pile, and I would get pudding in a little pile. And I would just kind of spin my plate and eat my little 3 piles. But that's what I did at Sizzler and Bonanza. But I was so excited about it, and then it did not. I would not give it high ratings. I've been looking forward to this since January when I was here. I saw it and I was like, put that in your calendar.
Well, it's
coming
not
back.
Like it's not like your taste buds have become.
I'm not sophisticated.
More refined.
Yeah. I went for a very, very nice steak in Vegas at Carver Steak. Fantastic. Very surprised how good it was, how good that whole resort at Resort Worlds was. But this was not on that level. We saw a show, Liberace. We were there. Not really. But we did go to Galen's nacho. Okay, this is just not nice. Pickles don't belong to salad. Well, it's not really a salad. It's just my little. It's basically croutons and cheese.
It's just a pile of stuff that comes from the salad bar.
Right. It's just it's not a salad.
I mean, when I tell you, I used to love Super Salad, and I tell you that I got lettuce with a pound and a half of ham, sunflower seeds, bacos, and a bucket of ranch. Can you really call that a salad?
Yeah, I would do the same, but no ranch and croutons. I would add the croutons. You're a weird eater, Ryan.
Oh, yes, you're correct.
Yeah. My niece, my 5-year-old niece, pulled a Ryan at Thanksgiving, and I'm so disappointed I missed it. She went to Thanksgiving, and all she ate was rolls. And that is like a me thing to do, because I just don't like Thanksgiving food. It just doesn't do anything. I just don't like turkey. I never have. Like, if you make a ham, I'm going to eat that ham. Mm-hmm. But turkey and stuffing, I just, all right.
I'm not a big stuffing person, but turkey I love.
That's fine.
I don't like the ham, the little spiral candied ham or whatever, honey ham.
I don't even know what that is. Okay. So yeah. So I went to Nacho Daddy's, which Galen recommended.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Look at the cinematography.
Thank you.
Look at
I really
that.
worked on this. That's why we're doing this, because I worked on this.
Mr. Depth of Field here.
Yeah, that's me.
You trying to show off? Look at that. That looks professional.
Thank you.
How did Mario grade this?
Mario?
Our
For
camera guy.
the camera. Well, he hasn't seen it. He's got 2 small children, so I can't imagine he's seeing it at this moment. But he'll watch it. They put a tea light underneath the queso.
Okay.
which I thought was stupid, but it kept the queso hot the whole time. So,
Yeah,
it didn't congeal.
It'll get cold.
Right, but you eat queso with your fingers, so
Well, I
that's a
usually
little
just,
different.
just put a straw in it, and
Yeah.
it's good.
But it was fine. It was okay.
Solid.
Galen, the way he talked about it was like, "Oh, I'm this Mexican food connoisseur. I know everything," and this is great because listen to him. Listen.
More.
Hey Ryan, and whenever you go to hit this spot called Nacho, like nacho cheese, Nacho Daddy. Elite Mexican food spot. Elite.
Why am I going to go all the way to Las Vegas for Mexican food?
Well, you're going to be there.
You're going to be there, yeah. You might as well.
But
eat
if
good,
if the state does not border Mexico, I can't trust the Mexican food. It's like going to Vegas and getting Cajun food. I can't trust that.
Hey, Ryan, I'm trying to tell you, brother, as a
Mexican
food connoisseur.
They got the pipeline straight up from Arizona. It'll be a little bit different than what ours is.
I just don't know about that.
Anybody who's been a Nacho Daddy who's watching,
I'll try it. I tried it.
Can't be better than Chewy's.
Or Casa Ole. And Chewy's sucks. Just
Chewy's is fantastic, dude.
You're an idiot.
Watch your mouth, son.
Queso Tea Light is genius, absolutely. So you're saying the flame kept the quest hot? Sure,
Jack.
All right. Timeout. We spent $100 on 4 margaritas at Javier's inside Aria.
What?
I would say to you, you're an idiot. But I bought $30 worth of water, and I got 3 bottles. They were $9.50 a piece at
Water?
MGM. Yeah.
Bottles?
Yeah.
Or were you getting like the canned liquid death bullshit?
No, it was bottles of water, like Aquafina.
How'd that go?
Watch it. It's 2 a.m. Don't do this to me. How can I edit that out? We're gonna have to figure that out right now.
You and that BYU flautist.
Yeah, that guy
got you all discombobulated.
Oh, it's been a day. God bless you, son. That football player looks pretty angry about the flautist. Huh. No, and so we had lunch the first day we were there at a place that was terrible. And the bill came, and my Diet Coke was $7. So $100 for 4 margaritas doesn't actually sound all that bad. At Carver Steak, our drinks were $27 each. So, I mean, that's just where Vegas is now. And
man, I just miss the old days, dude. Remember when you can go and get like hotel room for like $80, and then
Brad,
you can eat for like $100 for the entire weekend.
I used to go to the Sahara and stay for like $22 a night.
Yeah,
and then you could eat it. They had a NASCAR cafe, which had the 6-pound burrito.
Yeah,
that you could
I
get.
remember it. I remember.
Yeah, I saw you eat 3 of them in one setting. It was awesome. It was unbelievable, and it's just not that anymore. They've realized they can make money on the room, and then everything else you do. There's no $1 shrimp cocktail at the Four Queens anymore.
Yeah,
which is disappointing.
They used to have
not as much for me, but for this guy.
There was one place that was right down by the Stratosphere near the out on the strip past downtown, and they sold foot-long 1-pound hot dogs. Yeah, it looked exactly what you thought it looked like. That's exactly what it looked like.
Okay.
That's exactly. I'm a star. I'm a star. I'm a star. The Dirk Diggler of hot dogs. It was disgusting.
I'm at BYU, Brad. Can we just keep this a little? Beers were $14 at tonight's A&M UT game. I feel like that's pretty standard for stadiums now. They were cheaper here.
They were
They don't have
$0,
beer.
right?
Yeah. They did have Diet Coke in the press box, which is the first time I've seen caffeine here in 3 tries. So that was different. So anyways, I think
you bring it in yourself, right?
Yeah, I don't smuggle in Diet Coke. It's just not something I have done in the past. The intern.
There he
Kinda
is.
looks
That's,
like- yeah.
that's the big. It was the preview picture.
Oh, I'm glad he's working.
The
I don't have to deal with
BYU. See, they already had him on there.
Yeah, they were ready.
It'd be scary to see JD rocking that tank top.
Yeah, I don't know if I would live through that. But things are pretty good. You lost 2 games today, and we're kind of glossing over that.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do now? I mean,
Yeah, what are you going to do?
the good thing is we don't have to. We don't. I mean, basketball has a week. It was hard to go on that little break of waiting. Oh, I can't wait for basketball again. Now it's like, whatever.
It's amazing how that changes.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
It's just a very disheartening loss. I'm sad at the way that they played. Then
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
today
mad.
was
It's the old. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
If you remember, when you went on your first road game in the Big 12 to Iowa State, you were down 16-0 or something crazy like that, or you were down 16 really early, and it didn't feel anything like today felt.
No.
Like that felt like, okay, that's a really good team, and we're at their place, and there's 9 inches of snow on the ground. 9 inches. But I mean, it felt like, okay, this is like was in the realm of possibility. Today did not feel that way. This felt bizarre. Like they just didn't have an interest in being there. And I never felt comfortable with this whole NIL tournament thing. It feels greasy. It feels like it's not how NIL should be done. Because this feels almost like pay for play or pay for performance.
Well, you are right, but thing is that we're so far past how NIL was supposed to be done.
Yes,
This is
I
actually
agree.
more in line with
Where it is.
Well, I mean, because at least you can say that, okay, well, they're being paid appearance fees.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they tied the payout to where you finish.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know. It feels a little greasy, but it is where it is, and that's what you just have to live with.
Yeah, it's just part of it.
Can we talk about this? Gus Malzahn.
Yeah.
What's up with Malzahn? Gus Malzahn quit as the head coach of Central Florida. They owed him $13 million. Now, if he would have made it to Monday and got fired, I think it went down like $2 or $3 million. So obviously he got some sort of payout from UCF, which is Gus's, like his magic trick. He goes and gets payments for getting fired. Auburn's still paying him.
Yeah.
But he goes to be the OC at Florida State, and that just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, from either end, why does Florida State want him?
That's a good question. But from Malzahn's standpoint, it makes perfect sense.
No, it doesn't. They owe him $13 million. Fire me.
Here's the thing: is he's not ready to be done, and so he can't have another firing on his resume. So
Why? You just collect them. They just.
But this allows you to pick where you go, who's going to pay you very well to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to get a 2-year deal at least, maybe 3 years.
Probably.
But
I don't know if they're giving those out for Norvell.
More and more coaches are doing that these days. That they're going to step down from their head coaching job to avoid the axe. I mean, that's essentially how we got Dana.
Yes.
I mean, that's except
100%.
He stepped down to G5 or whatever.
Right, but for the same pay.
You're able to select the job that you want to go to, as opposed to sitting on the side and taking the job that you kind of have to take, or you have to keep waiting. So, I mean, from an offensive, if I'm the offensive coordinator and I feel that I'm remotely competent, I'm going to FSU because I don't have to be worth a shit to be a step up from what they were this year.
Well, that's all about
Dana could do that job.
Well, he scored 10 points yesterday or Friday. So good job, Dana, against Iowa. I don't remember a time when this worked, going from a head coaching job down. Chip Kelly did it, and their loss today might mean the end of that staff. Tom Herman wanted to do it, couldn't find a job. I mean, Tom Herman got fired at FAU a year and 8 games into a season. They scored 63 today, by the way. No big deal. I don't
now
like
that now OC jobs are paying more than most
head coaching jobs were 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking $1 million to $2 million. I mean, we paid Barbe what, 900,000?
It was 750.
Well, that might have been was the buyout.
No, it was the second year.
Right, but we paid him 900.
But I think it was less because he's still getting paid from Mississippi State.
Right.
So the money is still really dumb.
Yeah, I mean, if you're decent at it, you're going to get paid $2 million.
Yeah. And not have all the headaches of the head job.
Yeah.
He didn't take a secure job. He took a job on a sinking ship. I mean, they were a really good team last year, and Norvell got a big contract. They picked the wrong quarterback. And when you pick the wrong quarterback, it does not matter what the other play. It just doesn't.
I mean, look at Utah.
It's just like, look at the team you have right here with Donovan.
Well, I mean, Utah put all their eggs into the rising basket, and they cracked again. And this year, they just blew up.
But nobody exemplifies that more than DJU. I mean, he's that guy. He has failed.
Program killer.
And if he had another year, I guarantee you somebody else would take a chance. I can fix him. It's like a crazy woman. I can fix her. No, you can't. It's just.
Well, it's kind of ingrained into, especially football coaches at that level are all going to be 40 plus, 40 to my age, and they're all still beholden to the old paradigm of, if a quarterback is 6'5", 220 pounds, he's got to be a superstar. I mean,
220,
240, 250. I mean, look at all the old quarterbacks from the Big Ten that we've made fun of.
Hey, if you're not Jamarcus Russell, you're too thin. I need a guy that's 280 plus.
Well, I mean, just think, last year during the offseason, they were talking Donovan McNabb as an outside shot at being the highest draft quarterback in the league.
Donovan McNabb.
I mean, Donovan Smith.
Yeah. You're only 28 years behind.
But I mean, really, that people really seriously wrote that he was possibly the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
And primed to be drafted. Maybe Ukraine's going to call him.
Easy. I actually texted with Brad about this earlier today.
Oh yeah,
Fremont
I've got
Street
that on my list. If I ever make
has
it
a
to Vegas
place
again,
called the Heart Attack Grill. If you weigh 350 pounds or more, you eat free.
I'm just going for the spanking. What are you talking about?
I don't like the word spanking used on this podcast particularly. This is a good point. Wyoming's basketball coach left to be an assistant at Tech. That was weird. The whole Underwood thing is insane. I am so curious of who gets the axe tomorrow and who doesn't.
Where?
In this conference, I think Mike Gundy is getting it. I think you just can't come back from 0-9. And your team quit yesterday. You can't come back from that.
Hey, we didn't finish last, man.
U of H finished, I believe, 11th or 12th, which is far surpassing expectations for anybody reasonable. I don't know about Brent Brennan at Arizona. I think it would be dumb to fire him, but I think it's possible. And I guess that would be it. And then Gus leaves. Maybe Neil Brown gets fired at West Virginia.
I think the only issue is West Virginia probably can't afford to buy him.
The money, yeah. And I think he got a deal last year when he saved himself by just a little bit. And so, yeah, I mean, it all comes down to who can afford the money and whose major fans who have the money are just pissed off enough.
Well, I mean, and you look out there, what coaches, are there any really hot up-and-comers that you look at and say, oh, what, Silverfield at Memphis? Is that somebody you'd take a look at?
Maybe.
I mean, Chadwell at Liberty?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Who might start getting looks, and it feels weird because is Tyson helped at Western Kentucky?
He just keeps grinding away. His only problem is going to be that he just isn't recognizable because they don't do anything big and flashy. He just kind of grinds it out.
But they've won, I believe, 9 games each of the last 2 years. They've got 8 wins this year. Could make it 9 in the Conference USA title game. I mean, crazier things have happened. Maybe Summerall at Tulane is somebody you could say has kind of stepped it up, but they got crushed Thanksgiving night. I don't know of anybody from that second tier of conferences that you think Barry Odom.
Yeah.
Is that ship ever gonna
Well, see, that's the thing is that you're at that level, or there are good coaches in the quote unquote G5, G6, or whatever it is now, that are good, but they're not guys that you think they're going to be great, who end up flopping anyhow. But they're not ones that you were going to make a risky move to go and hire.
Yeah.
Where you say, okay, I've got to go get this guy. So I'm going to push out somebody.
Boise State has a head coach who took over in the middle of the season last year and went 11-1 this year. Can you name him?
No.
Okay. Martin?
Only because I literally just Googled it right before you asked.
Okay.
But
it's Spencer Danielson, right?
And don't they have what's his name? Dirk Cotter as back as their OC?
Dirk is somewhere involved there.
I mean, he started that whole thing to begin
28 years ago, 25 years ago. It's crazy. I think Spencer Danielson's about your age, Martin. He's in his mid-30s.
36.
Wow.
Okay. Casey Keeler didn't leave Sam. He's 65. What they did this year is amazing. They missed out on the Conference USA title game because Tyson Helton in Western Kentucky won today.
Right.
Duarte told that to
Did
Willie on the field, and Willie just was a little upset. He's still all in for Sam. Which is
absolutely.
Cool.
Did Trailer miss his window at UTSA?
You know, they went 6-6 this year, which is surprising.
They don't have Frank Harris.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that they got he did it, and did it is kind of doing a lot of work with a new quarterback. Maybe if he can catch lightning, he can get out of there. But UTSA has shown they've shown no desire to invest for students or from NIL or from anything, and so it might just be where he is for 5 years until he can get something back. I don't know. This is a pretty good comment. It's weird that as much as coaches are control freaks, these dudes are leaving jobs where they are the main man to be an assistant again. And it's to position themselves for the next head job is how I see it.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you're about to fire me as the head guy. I don't think I can get a job that I would feel comfortable with. I'll go get this job, hone my skills or my network, really, and then go take another shot. So I don't know. And
so, and now that you don't have the Nick Saban School for Wayward Coaches, you better try to hand pick a OC job. Call all your buddies.
Yeah.
Say, hey man, can you? My head's about to be chopped off. Can I come over?
Major Applewhite stayed in that program for 2 years longer than anyone else in the history, so he may have killed it. Major Applewhite is going to a bowl game again. Never missed it as a head coach.
No,
how about that?
No, has a chance to finish above 500. If he does, that'll give him 3 seasons above 500.
That's so fucking weird. But he took over from winners, which helps. He took over from people that built programs. Tom Herman, and then I'm blanking on the guy that was at South Alabama. Didn't he go to Mississippi State? I could be wrong on that. It's like 3 a.m. I can't believe we're still doing this, by the way. Cheers to everybody that's here. There's 256 people watching at the moment. Star Pizza. We haven't said this in about an hour, so let's just Star Pizza. We love those people. They have been so good to us, and we appreciate it. Brad certainly does. It's getting him free food at the Heart Attack Grill in Vegas. 3 locations, lunch specials all week. They have the world famous all-you-can-eat buffet on Tuesdays and Fridays. You get a drink with it. You should really check that out. Now that football is gone away and I have, time, I think I'm going to start doing that some more.
Doing what?
Going to Star Pizza for the lunch buffet. Tuesdays I'm at football practice all day, and usually there's a basketball media, and Fridays I'm traveling or whatever else. I think this is catching on, by the way. We created
your emojis?
My emojis, yeah. I just think that's the best way. It makes you think, what is that? Oh, it's Star Pizza.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're just going to take all the credit. It's not like Mike and them are up, so it doesn't matter.
I don't even know of any offensive coordinators out there. Martin, are you familiar with? Since there's no real air raid, I haven't really. And all the offenses are kind of just hybrids. They're all very similar. It's like it's kind of a spread zone read type of bullshit. Whatever.
I can't think of anybody offhand. I'm sure Chip Kelly gets a shot somewhere again. Not
No,
that
I'm talking
he's
about
an
for us.
up-and-comer, but I don't know.
I really
imagine that-
think it'll be somebody that Willie has a relationship with.
yeah.
He needs somebody he can trust and feel like they're speaking the same language from day one. Last year, he had a guy in mind. There was some funkiness at Tulane. It didn't work out. That guy's now at LSU. Before him, Will Hall from Southern Miss, who just got fired a few weeks ago, was a Willie guy. Could that happen? His other OC is the OC at Oregon. That guy's not coming back. So, he's got to make a choice. And maybe he already has, to be honest. But he's got to pick a guy. I can't imagine it happens before signing day. It just would be very surprising to me.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, that'd be tough. It'd be in 2 days, 3 days.
Right. Well, it also, you don't want a guy who's going to sign with you to be hesitant because of the guy you name. They're committed to you, and you need to keep it that way. Do you think the guy he had at Tulane last year might be the guy? It's very possible. The circumstances that happened there were strange, and it was basically Tulane leveling some accusations, and for whatever reason, Slade Nagel stayed. And I really don't know what that exact reasoning is, but maybe it works out. I don't know if he's the right guy, but he was the offensive coordinator for a pretty good team. It turns out it was talent mostly, because those guys went 10-2 this year, 9-3.
Well, so the most impressive thing is they did that losing a quarterback. I mean, losing their quarterback
Pratt.
of 4 years. Pratt was
15 years.
I mean, they lost a lot, and they came back. I was really impressed with Tulane. That's,
I believe,
speaks a lot of the kids that stayed, and then the job that they did, continuing from what they had previously. Something we've never done.
Did Pratt play in the 2018 game at U of H, where De'Aaron King got hurt and where Major and Ed Oliver had the jacket thing? Or was it 2019 when Dana went there and Willie pulled the trickery out at the end of the game to win it? I think that was Pratt.
He might have been there, but they had they had that kid from LSU, that LSU transfer. Was it McMillan or something like that?
McMillan, yeah, Justin McMillan.
Yeah.
See, Pratt and McMillan look alike, so you can. I mean,
they're
bland-ass white guys.
Yes.
So, what is the likelihood you may lose Shieldwood? This is a U of H thing, a tradition. If anybody has any success, you're like, oh my God, is he leaving? The fact is that this was a good defense, but it was not an elite defense. It is good from where U of H was, but in terms of nationwide, I don't think it stands out as much as U of H people think it does. Points per game are pretty middle of the road, maybe 6th or 7th in the Big 12. It's not something crazy. And
I think
I think if somebody sees he's a young up and coming guy and he's what I want, I like the defense he runs, maybe. But just because of they were the success of this pretty bad collective team, I just don't think it's going to work. Finished top 30, best in the Big 12. Points-wise, you did not, and that's
yards,
what I'm talking about.
That's just based on yards.
I don't care about yards. Yards does not matter. That's not a stat.
Understand, I love the defense. I think the defense deserves to be a 9-win team. That's the quality that they played to. But their numbers are also a function of the offense where we try to play keep away. That was a large portion of it. Not that they didn't. They did their job. They got stops. They held when they needed to. But I think judging them off of yards, it's unfair to them because there's going to be defenses in the future that are going to give up a lot more yards who will be much better than this defense.
Yeah. Yards, it doesn't matter. They're not on the scoreboard. They finished 7th in the Big 12 in points given up.
When like tonight, we'll look at the score and you say, the defense probably didn't play too well. But then we forget that, 7 of their points came on the kick return, and then the defense did everything that they could to score a touchdown, but then they didn't get a touchdown, and
Yeah. Carlos Allen, that run, I felt like that took more time off the clock than a U of H possession.
That made me stand up. I wanted us big guys to have a moment.
I was excited for him. I mean, that was pretty cool.
On the play where everything went to hell with AJ Halsey, where he got ejected.
Yeah.
I think watching that play, I think it started because Carlos Allen, before the play, was like, run it right here, basically run at me, I'll stop it. He was talking to the O-line. He was like, run it right here. And so then they scored, and immediately the O-lineman went to Carlos Allen and was like, well, we ran it at you, and we scored. Meanwhile, AJ Halsey and the receiver were having their scuffle, but then Carlos Allen was very involved as the play went on. But that was just something I noticed. Carlos Allen basically saying, like, come at me. And unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Doesn't sound
Normally
like
it does. No. He's had a great year, but that one play was just unfortunate.
I'm really impressed with what the defense did this year, because you took a bunch of guys, just a hodgepodge, and threw them together. And damn it, Batten, he's had the worst luck the last 2 weeks, in that son of a bitch was 35 yards downfield, covering a receiver, and covered him as good as you possibly could, and they still got him again. Of course, he got a pass interference on it, but he couldn't cover that guy any better, and the guy made a phenomenal catch.
Was that Batten? I thought it was, but they in the press box they said another number.
They said number 34, I think.
Yeah, 34, 36.
34.
Yeah, but I was like, first off, that was a great throw, an even better catch.
Yes.
Very good pass interference. I mean, really, everybody did their job.
But I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed at the way that group that came together. I thought, even though that UNLV took their foot off the gas, I thought the defense played pretty decent. But then they kept playing well. We kept playing well, and it's like, is this defense really going to be good?
Yeah,
we're going to have
that
an effective
UNLV
defense?
game. They were not good in the first half. They over pursued like crazy.
Well, that was kind of a hallmark this year.
But they dialed it back in the second half. My guy, Jamal Morris, goes out with 8 tackles, 4 solo, a half a TFL. I saw him on the field before the game, and we did that thing, the DAP. I just feel so weird saying that word. But we did and I told him, you're going to have a great day today. And I never say that. And he just shook his head. And I did not know this. Somebody told me, I think a writer for the Daily Cougar, but after the game last week, the Baylor game, Jamal was in the interview room, and he talked about the article that he wrote for us about his depression and his mental health issues. And he said, yeah, y'all know that, the Cougs newspaper. And he couldn't even get our name right. And I was I was just heartbroken. The Cougs newspaper. Oh, well. You can't win them all. So anyways, all right, let's wrap this up. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. It's 2:37 your time. and I have to get on a plane eventually, shortly. Tulane's success this year is a big part of what gives me hope. Willie clearly built a program. And that was a program that had one really good season since they left the SEC. And that was 1998 when they went undefeated. U of H was right there at the end for them that year. They hadn't done anything. I mean, the litany of losers they brought in as head coach since Tommy Bowden left for Clemson is unreal.
Well, understand how bad they were. That U of H struggled in Conference USA. Make no mistake. But as we started to turn things around, we beat Tulane every single year
from 2003 until Tony Levine. But I had to read on Coug Fans today about how great Tony was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody loves to rewrite history. That's just kind of the way things are now.
I mean, if you go back to Mac Brown, they had as head coaches Greg Davis,
yeah,
Buddy Tevens,
yeah,
Tommy Bowden, Bob Toledo.
Bob Toledo was there for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah.
All these big name coaches. I mean, Bob Toledo was a big name at UCLA.
Curtis Johnson, who
Terrible.
never, ever had a chance, a former Saints wide receiver coach. Chris Cefalo. I mean, you're talking some really bad choices. Kind of like hiring Kim Helton and Dana Dimmel and, God bless him, but John Jenkins, back to back to back. Not in that order. But, but he turned them around. But it took a long time. It was not till his 6th year that they really had success and were able to sustain it. But that's a function of being a private school and being very far down the list for guys.
Right.
It will not take that long here. He won't get that long here.
And every 2 or 3 years, having a hurricane come and wipe out your campus to where you got to play or practice in Birmingham for 6 months, or take your practice on the road in 15 different cities.
Yeah. All right, Brad, final thoughts. Basketball, football.
Basketball, get
food.
your shit together. That's really, every one of them know what it takes. They've been here long enough. Step up. Football, it was rough. It was rough, but it's step one. It's step one in the process. We start to take a big step two next week, apparently. And right now I'm looking at 247. We've got the number 41 class overall. That's pretty damn good. How many times have we finished in the top 50 in the last 10 years? I'd say twice.
Is it twice? Okay.
Well, this will be the
I would have
second
said
time.
less. Okay.
I think Dana might have got it up to 49 the first year before last. Regardless, it's not we're building something. Almost every one of those are high school kids. Progress isn't linear, so you saw a lot of ups and downs. 1 step forward, 15 steps back, 3 steps forward, 5 steps back. It's kind of all over the place, but you can see where the program's going, and I think next year will be a lot better. We're going to get things situated at the quarterback position and just really start to build. Those who have been through this year will carry that over to the years to come, and that just builds. Just like with Kelvin, it's part of the culture. We build the culture. So you get a week off and then get back in the weight room.
A week ago, Brad Towns said that BYU scores 274. You got to feel pretty good that you held them to whatever it was, 30.
Yep.
So,
Hey, my dream that I had, we lost 42-3. So.
Okay. Martin?
Yeah, I think same result this year as far as record as last year, but context is important. That was, the end of an era, and this is the beginning, and you had 3 wins in conference, which was 75% of your wins. I think you've got to feel good about that. Things are going in the right direction for sure. I think until you know who's going to be your quarterback, it's still going to be a massive question as to what you're going to expect next year, who's going to be calling your plays on offense. But I think everything should point towards encouragement for fans. School's putting money into the program. Willie Fritz is going to nurture a program until, it's something worth watching. And I think even a game like today should be encouraging. There was nothing to play for. You're not going to make a bowl. Nobody's going to get a bonus for 5 wins. But they put up a fight against a team that's now won 10 games and is going to have a chance to win the conference. And I think you start looking forward to what guys that have now been in a Willie Fritz program for a year are going to look like next year. Michael Batten's going to leave. I think you should be looking at a guy like Latrevion McCutcheon to step in and make a big impact next year. Ray Sanford to stack on this year. For next year, he might be one of the better running backs in the country or the conference, of course, depending on how the offensive line and the play calling goes. But there are some very encouraging things. I think you take that into spring, seeing who they bring into the transfer portal, how these freshmen, if any of them, are going to make an impact. I mean, they have 3 4-stars, which is a big deal. So, yeah, I think you should be encouraged. It's the same ones as last year, but they just mean something different.
Yeah. I believe this is the second year in a row you have not won a game outside of Texas. So you beat UTSA, Sam Houston, Baylor, and West Virginia in Texas last year. You beat Rice and TCU and Kansas State and Utah in Texas this year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's been a couple of years since you've gone really outside the state and won a game. That's got to be something that happens a couple times next year. Shout out to all of us. We are exactly 1 hour since the Hawaii game ended. So we are the end of college football for this weekend.
Regular season.
For this weekend, yeah. And I think the NFL starts in like 45 minutes. So shout out to all of us for, sticking this thing out. And, there is very little reason to keep going with a team except for the bizarreness of fandom. And, anybody that's still here is inflicted or afflicted.
Yes.
Not inflicted, yeah.
With a cougar tail to the mouth.
Hey, don't knock it till you tried it, buddy. And this guy's tried it. We had a good year football-wise. We made some memories. We had some fun. We got to experience some cool things with high school players and college players, U of H players. They're really wanting to kick me out of here. They keep coming in.
The funny thing is, you look at our 2 of our wins, TCU and Kansas State. They're both 8-win teams.
Yeah, TCU, I believe, won 8, 7.
Yeah, they did. 8-4. And Kansas State was ranked. So 2 quality wins. That shows you what it can be, and what we'll eventually get to. And next year we'll be in a bowl game, and the year after that we'll be in the college football playoffs.
All right, there you go, Brad Towns. We made this memory happen for Jack, and Star Pizza is going to be there forever. That was pretty cool. So I'm getting pretty much kicked out of here because they really want to clean this place because it's pretty gross, and it's 2 a.m. So thank y'all so much. We'll be back. I'm going to take a day or 2 off. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we're doing a show tomorrow night. I have to double check that, but I think we are. So thank you so much for sticking with us all year. We'll be back for basketball Saturday afternoon, evening. And just keep this train going. GoCoogs.com. Thanks, Martin. Thank you, Brad. Go Cougs.